Welcome to the Sharpe Show. I know it's a late one. Some of you guys are probably not happy about it, but it is a little bit late. I know, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, but I got a candidate who's running for mayor and she's busy doing stuff. So I can't always get her when I want her to be on my show. But luckily, I was lucky. I got her to come this evening. I have with me the one and only woman running for mayor of New York City, Stacey Prussman. How are you?
How are you? Good evening, Larry. It's so great to be here on the Sharpe Show.
I am so happy to have you here. And for those who want more information on her, please feel free to check out PrussmanForMayor.com. Now, a lot of stuff has happened recently. Obviously. Yes. One of those is completely unfair to you, and that is the media acting like Eric Adams is the mayor, right? I mean, he won the Democratic primary, and now it's like, oh, I guess that's that. I mean, that has to be annoying to you.
It is really annoying, but, they did that with Hillary, with Trump, right? Not to compare the two elections, but they did do that, right? And so I think it's now time for the people to speak up and, show their vote. It's time more than ever that we need to have power back to the people, and that our election process is not said and done with a one-party system or a two-party system. In this case, a one-party system.
Absolutely. And the worst part is that's linked directly with what happened to Cuomo. Eric Adams was all about Cuomo. Remember that? They did a press conference together, all about, I can't wait, looking forward to working with Cuomo. He was all about Cuomo.
He was kissing the butt, Larry, kissing the butt.
Yes, he was. Absolutely. So now Cuomo's going away, right? And the one advantage of Cuomo going away is he did give us, one advantage of him being there is he did give us a female lieutenant governor. So now we're going to have our first female governor of New York. It's a first woman, that's a nice thing. It's a nice checkbox. It doesn't mean we're going to have a good governor, but it's a nice checkbox.
I didn't even think about that. Like, I don't even look at sex as leadership. People are like, if you win, you'll be the first woman. If this person wins, the first. I just see it as the first, a person is taking over for Cuomo. They could suck and they could be great. Probably going to suck, but I'm just being negative. If it's part of his administration, they're all enablers in my book. And I think that, people are going to go down with him. And I was thinking, the state assembly, people knew what was going on. And a man like him just doesn't quit politics with an ego that big. So they had something on him that was way worse than they had on any politician for him to go, bye-bye. So that's going to be interesting.
No, I'm with you. And this is the part that I also, hope will help us as a movement in general, which is, all the people around him, you use the perfect word. I'm going to steal that. Enablers, right? And they were all in. When Cuomo got in trouble, he literally had no friends, right? Everyone abandoned him. Even DeRosa abandoned him. Everyone abandoned him. So that means they actually didn't love him or care about him. They were just using him for their own power too, right?
Right, exactly. People, when they work for people, they want to, politics, as I'm learning, is people just step on each other.
Yes.
They associate themselves with each other. I've been in show business my whole life. Politics is a lot worse, Larry. And people will do anything. And, you're dealing with one thing with show business, you're dealing with your life and your ego.
Sure.
Now, with politics, you're dealing with the people that you're governing and your ego. So it can get very ugly. And and the
damage is a whole lot more in government than it is in if you're looking at, show business, if you crash and burn, I hope you don't, but if you do, it's just you.
It's you.
But if you crash and burn in politics,
it's a whole nother story. So I think that a lot of people are going to be like associated with this, with whatever Cuomo had done specifically that we don't know, the stories we do know, and then there's things we don't know. The whole nursing home scandal, it might be a lot worse than we ever imagined.
Absolutely.
Who else knows what's in the closet or hiding underneath, a dead person in the nursing home? So, we're going to see. It could be a lot worse than sexual abuse or Me Tooing and all that stuff. So it's going to be very interesting, the malignant narcissists, when they run and when they win office, it can be very dangerous. We have to watch out who we put in power.
100%.
Eric Adams, I don't know him personally. I don't want to call, but he's acting like as if he won. Like you didn't win yet. He might have a better chance than me or Sliwa or Pepitone or the other guy running, Fernando Mateo and Rojas. I think that people need to really, be humble before they win. Before it's said and done, they need to be humble.
I agree with you because you never know what could happen to him, right? What if he gets linked to one of these scandals? If they link him to Cuomo, he could be in trouble. And there are, 5 people running for mayor? Is that right?
I believe 5 or 6. There's a lot of just like independent people. I don't really know their names.
Right.
They're totally independent. And then there are people that are on parties. Like,
right.
So yeah. So we're the 3rd largest party. And, Cuomo didn't make it easy for our party at all. I don't think people realize what hoops we had to jump to get on the ballot.
Absolutely.
We really worked our butt off. Our teams worked together. Larry and my team, we all worked our butt off to get on the ballot because of Cuomo's. And we're in lawsuits because of Cuomo.
Absolutely. 100%.
I don't think people
100%.
know that. The normals don't know that.
Let me grab a couple of comments. Some people are commenting here. So
okay, great.
Kareem's like, hey, get rid of Bill de Blasio. Well, yes, Kareem, de Blasio goes away no matter what, right? He's term limited. The question is who is next. But so that is good. But is one bad thing about Cuomo also leaving is de Blasio might run for governor.
People hate him.
Yes, and he still might run for governor. Yes. It didn't stop him for president.
Every party hates him. Every Democrat, they're like, everybody I've spoken to that I've told I'm running for mayor, you better get that de Blasio out. I'm like, he's not running. He's not there. Yeah. But
absolutely.
Eric Adams is the same old thing. Like you're getting the same crap with Adams. I mean, look at my policy, see what you like, but like you're getting the same stuff, basically.
Right.
You're not getting progressive. You're not getting anything interesting. You're not going to and nothing is going to change. It's going to be cronyism. It's going to be a lot of bureaucracy. It's going to be a lot of nonsense and over policing. Everyone's leading safety with policing, and that's not the way to do it. I mean, police serve a purpose, but they're not the way to stop crime.
Sure, absolutely.
I keep saying that, but we need to get the core of crime, not the people who arrest you after you do it.
Right.
We don't need the people to take away their body bag. We need to stop your dead body from being dead. So
absolutely. Sure. So Daniel says, welcome, Stacey, and good luck to you. I live in Georgia, but still rooting for you.
Yes,
so there we go. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So speaking of that, you and I are going to be doing a comedy show in New York City on Friday. Tell me about it, please.
We're going to be doing it at V-Spot, which is it's a multi-use club. It's actually owned by the same gentleman, but it's a vegan restaurant, which has amazing food. It's not like that healthy. I mean, it's healthy, but it's not vegan. Like it's vegan for meat eaters. They have drinks and it's a lot of fun.
Whoa. Vegan for meat eaters.
It's owned by a comedian named Alex Carbano. He's an amazing cook. He has all types of food. I just did a little short about the restaurant with him. And in the back, he opened his own comedy club. He's an entrepreneur and a very talented comedian. And it's going to be.
So hold on, guys. For those of you who don't live in New York City, this is New York City.
Yes.
Vegan for meat eaters, entrepreneur with a comedy club in the back. That's New York City. Thank you, Stacey.
Yes, he's a Colombian gentleman, I believe, and he has a little flair of that in the food. He has Italian flair, he has Asian flair. So it's kind of, I mean, the food is delicious, and meat eaters come and they eat it, and it's filling and yummy, and and so and I'm very big with animal rights, so I really like the combination of comedy and animal rights, and being really friendly to animals while enjoying yourself.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be, and laughter is great. We have a great lineup.
We could use some more laughter, Stacey. That's for sure.
The thing is, people keep talking, with the coronavirus and all the mandates and all that, and people are scared and people are fighting about vaccinations, and the heart of it. And at the end of the day, we really, really need to have fun again. We really need to laugh, and we really need to be, human to each other. And we're missing that.
Human. Yes. We need to be able to interact with each other. Yes, absolutely.
And if we don't
let me ask the question. People are going to be asking, is this a place where you have to have your vaccine passport to get in?
No, it's not.
There we go. No. Okay.
It's not a vaccine passport place. And I've had shows, I'm not going to mention the name of a particular comedy club. I was going to perform a very well-known comedy club, and they had to cancel the show because they wanted everyone vaccinated and the audience vaccinated. So it's like, some people can't get vaccinated yet they just had COVID. I mean, there's a percentage of people that like literally can't get vaccinated, right? Like their doctor said it's not safe for you because you're allergic. There's a small percentage. And then there's people that just had COVID. So it's like, we got to deal with I think the biggest mistake when I say this, Larry, about the vaccinations, which drives me up the wall, I think we talked about this, was they should have let private doctors with their patients vaccinate them. They should have given the refrigeration to store the vaccines where the patient and the doctor have a conversation. And I believe a lot of people would have gotten vaccinated rather than going to these mass governmental scary sites in the middle of nowhere in these schools or Rite Aid with some creepy person, sticking a needle in your arm. That's what I feel. That's my opinion. So I think
you like the idea of the individual talking to their doctor and making that decision. That's what you prefer.
Right. I experienced that with my mother and myself on many occasions, many doctors. So I felt safer about it. And I didn't feel like it was a governmental thing because I trust my doctors.
Sure.
And it was many doctors, from my dentist to my, my gynecologist to my, my facial doctor, dermatologist, to my mother's heart doctor. So I had a wide.
But your mom actually is in that scary zone, isn't she? She's in that zone. She's in that zone,
and we had somebody that passed away, and she's like, "I'm getting vaccinated." And this was April. This wasn't, so it is a personal choice. I'm just saying, make your personal choice, not from the internet, not from your, not from political beliefs, but from your doctor. That's all I'm going to say.
There we go. I like that. Devin asked a question that's kind of off topic, but he says, do you think Kathy Hochul will pardon Cuomo?
No, I don't know. It depends we don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think she will. Unless she thinks that he may be going down in some way badly, but I don't think she'll pardon him.
I think they have things on him that could hurt other people. So
here's the issue. What people don't realize, if you pardon somebody, right? Let's say you pardon Cuomo. Now he has to testify. Let me explain what that means. Yes. You don't have to testify if you could get in trouble. You can't incriminate yourself, right?
Right.
That's our Fifth Amendment. You don't incriminate yourself. But if you get pardoned, then you can no longer be incriminated because you can't go to jail anymore. So now you have to testify. If you don't testify, you can go to jail because you're no longer incriminating yourself anymore, right? You're not going to jail. You're pardoned.
We're going to have him in jail. We'll have Trump in jail. They'll all be in the same cell. It'll be really fun.
Well, the funny thing is, if he's the only guy who doesn't go to jail, like they pardon him and he rats everybody else out, but then he doesn't go to jail. Could you imagine that?
The whole state senate would be bye-bye.
The whole state goes to jail except for him. He's the only politician who survives. Oh my God, that's like a movie. That's our Netflix right there, Stacey.
I know, it's so great. It's absolutely insane. I'm actually shocked, that he resigned. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah. Me too. Yes, absolutely. I was surprised.
No pun intended, Larry. You said me too.
Me too. Yes, absolutely. So, wow, that's great. So, Joe asked an important question. Joe says, what are the top 3 issues New Yorkers are talking to you about? In New York City, what are they asking you? What are they upset about in New York City?
We're getting a few things. People, safety is a huge issue in New York.
Crime, yep.
Crime, these random crimes, particularly, I'm getting people who are asking me about that. Getting homelessness, affordable housing is a huge, real affordable housing is a huge concern to people because when they consider affordable housing, it's not affordable to everybody.
You just said something that I love. You mixed affordable housing and homelessness, and most people don't. They take them as 2 separate issues, but you understand that they're actually linked.
They're all linked together. If you have an affordable place to live, then you don't end up on the street. Unless by choice, some people don't want to live in a home. I've met people.
That's true.
But that's a rare occasion. But people that need, that need a home and want a home can't afford one. I've been in a situation where I've had to move apartments and rents went up. It's been difficult for a lot of my artist friends over the years, but even before the pandemic. So real, true affordable housing that's sustainable. Because people's incomes, particularly in a gig economy, goes up and down. It's not,
Right,
not
yep.
everyone has a job, and one year they make 50, one year they make 60. It's not like that. And people are taking, bits and pieces and putting it together now.
Yep.
A lot of people work
and
that
they
way.
sometimes have really good years and sometimes bad years and sometimes great months and sometimes terrible months. Absolutely.
Yeah. So those are issues I've been getting nonstop. There's a lot
crime, homelessness mixed with affordable housing. Is there one more?
The other issue is the drug issue. People ask me about having drugs legalized and how that would look. And I put that in the mental health because you can legalize drugs and that's great, but we also need to deal with addiction. So
sure.
Which also is associated with affordable housing and homelessness. So it's all, everything, people, it's not all separate issues. We need to address it holistically. And if we don't do that, we're never going to solve the problem from the core. We're going to put Band-Aids, and things are always going to keep being the same thing. So we need to really solve the problem from the core and really get to the onion, peel the onion and solve. And that's what people are asking me. The subways are a big question. Mm-hmm. Having the subways run smoother. That's big, better transportation.
I know, I hear that but people are still afraid of the subways though, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Still afraid of subways?
Because they're trapped in a box. And I think we should have, this is my thing, the door should open in between. So if something happens at a car, you can go to the next car and you're not stuck. So I think that we should start making the subways, all the doors open. It's safer that way to me, I believe, because you're not stuck in a box.
Right,
There's
absolutely.
more safe hatches and things like that.
So Jack asks, is she going to be the first female governor? I'm not sure if you mean Stacey or if you mean Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul will be our first female governor. Hopefully Stacey will be our first female mayor. That would be nice.
That would be exciting, yes.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%. So Fox Galt asks, is there a way you can immediately improve New York City? That's a really tough question. New York City is a big beast of 8.5 million people. It's larger than the population of New York City is larger than 40 states. So that's a big question. Stacey, any answer for that?
Well, immediately we need to just get the arts back, right? Because that we can do. We can open the arts. We can encourage artists to get here. We can change some zoning pretty quickly, I believe. So we can get some homes built in places where there are blocks, Larry, I don't know if you've seen this, in very nice areas and blocks of empty storefronts, huge,
100%.
gigantic.
Yes.
And these are expensive areas. It's not just, I said the Village last time, but it's all over. It's Manhattan specific.
Commercial real estate is trashed. You are completely correct. Commercial real estate is devastated. Yep.
Right. People just said sayonara. The minute things got bad, they like places that are in chains, they didn't even stick around. They had bad earnings that year. Bye. So
there we go.
But the small business could come back. So right now, we can start making incentives to small businesses to take over those spaces, as best as we can. And so it's livable, and people are excited to be back. But cafes.
You brought up a very important point that most people don't bring up again, which is what I love. You're talking about New York going back to the culture that has been a major aspect of New York City life for literally centuries now. I mean, for a long time, New York City has been about many things, but always at a core, it was culture. It was things like the opera, things like Broadway, things like comedy clubs. I mean, all the cool people who became comedians all did it first in New York City, right? All the actors, they did it on Broadway.
There's nothing more libertarian than being a comedian. It's the freedom of speech one of my first shows that I produced was a big show called Great American Trash Bash, the freedom of speech to the ultimate. I love, that we can speak and say our minds. And I love that about comedy. It's one of the only venues, then arts that you can really, really, really do it,
Yeah.
And kind of get away with being edgier and saying the truth, really,
Mm-hmm.
So we need to bring back the arts first, because happy people, this is what I've said, don't commit crimes as much. They don't have time. They're having too much fun.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Right? I mean,
yes.
People that are happy and healthy normally don't commit crimes. The people that are having crises and they're having breakdowns and they're having mental health breaks and addiction issues, they commit crimes. Now we have our crime families and whatnot, and those are always and those can be dealt with. But the people that are doing these crazy crimes are unhappy people. So
yes,
I mean, I know it sounds like it's not the solution to everything, but we need to bring back our culture. We need to get people to want to come back, that they can pursue their dreams. It's a place where people's dreams are made of.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not over yet. So
Jeanne asks, now that we have a woman as governor, maybe people will be more open to voting for a woman like you. Do you think having Kathy Hochul, our governor, in a couple of weeks, do you think that helps you, hurts you, or has no impact? What do you think? I
don't know. It might hurt the Democratic Party, so it could help me in that way. I don't know, her being a female. I don't know much about her policy, because she was Cuomo's underling, right? So we don't really know much about what she's going to bring to the table. She may be great, she may not be. I mean, I think each woman and each human being should be judged for who they are. And if it does help, it helps. But I think what it does is it does break up our political system and proves that, that we could, but she got it by default in a way.
Right.
He got in trouble and she got the job.
So the one thing we do need, though, always to run is money. That's always. Right. And absolutely. I know people can go to Prussman for mayor, but also this comedy show, which you were talking about earlier, I'm going to bring back up again. There's some special things about the comedy show. And one of them is I'll be emceeing it.
Yes, I'm so excited. Yes. And Larry's a fabulous MC.
So thank you. I will be doing that. And if you guys want tickets to that show, the link is right there at the bottom of the screen. And also it's in the actual show description. Click on that link right there, or type that in if you like typing, because it's a long type. If you want to type, whatever. Right. As long as you go there, check it out. And if you want to come to the show. We'd love to have you there. If you want to support the show, but you can't make it, you can still buy a ticket because you love Stacey. You could do that.
Help our campaign. We have a great, amount of people. We want to compete in a race that's, in the duopoly or the monopoly here, and we need the money. And third parties don't get the media attention. Though we've been getting some articles. I was in the Jewish Forward a couple of weeks ago, and we do get mentioned at Curbed a couple of times, and hopefully there'll be some more articles. They've been reaching out to me. So help us, get the press that we need, help us get the stuff we need, pay our staff, and be a really, even stronger campaign than we already are. And so please donate.
The thing that I want to see here more than anything, a lot of people, they say, well, wait a minute, do I really want to donate to Stacey? But this Eric Adams guy. And here's what I think is the number one issue. And Stacey, tell me if you think I'm wrong here. Mm-hmm. If we're able to get enough and raise enough money, you get on the debate stage with Eric Adams. I mean, that's the critical piece. If that happens, and New York City is different. New York City is actually easier in debate stage than it is in New York State. So she actually can get in the debate stage. She gets in that stage. Now you got a shot at wowing people. That's the Jesse Ventura chance that happened in Minnesota, right? And he got in the debate stage, and boom, it turned everything for him. And the three-way race, the guy becomes governor. You've got a five-way race, so if you can knock it out of the park in a debate, you got a shot at winning. But for those skeptics who might go, Larry, she's not going to win. You might be right. We don't know that. But let me be clear.
We don't know.
If you think she's not going to win,
did you think Cuomo was going to resign? Let's be honest.
Absolutely. You don't know. But let's say you're right and she doesn't win. Wouldn't you want to have a libertarian on that debate at a minimum? Win, lose, or draw. Don't you want a libertarian on the debate stage? Don't you want that L on the debate stage so we can see, hey, we're real. This matters. It's New York City. People are going to notice it. This is critical. Now, I believe in my heart. Yeah, I believe in my heart that if she gets on the debate stage, Stacey can win. You might believe that. You might not. Whatever you believe.
First of all, I've debated Eric Adams on these.
There we go.
You can go online. We've had a million mayoral forums. He always showed up. Yang didn't show up, and a lot of the other Garcia showed up, and Maya showed up, but he always showed up, and they always group me with him all the time. Every time they group me with Adams. And there was one time we were talking about education. I said I want to democratize education. I want to decentralize it. I want more school choice. I want people and parents to make the decision how their schools are run. I want to take it out of my office and into the communities. And he said, I agree with Stacey. That's what he said that. So, I mean, he agreed with a lot of my policies, or I pretended to, because I don't know if he had any himself. But it's going to be the same old thing. If you want the same nonsense in your schools, vote for Adams. It's going to be the same thing if you vote for Adams.
Yeah, so, it's true.
I just want to say that. unless you like that.
Also, people are bringing up ranked choice voting, which we don't have outside of the primaries yet. We're going to hope to get that soon, right? That's what we're trying to make that happen. It does happen in New York City. It does happen in New York City when it comes to the primaries.
Yeah.
But for the actual election, it doesn't. But hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
November
We'll see
2nd.
if that will work.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
October is early voting. So, tell your friends to vote. Your vote does matter. We can make a big difference here in New York. And
well, there's a second piece, Stacey, and I'm glad you brought this up, because again, even if you don't win, if you make enough impact, particularly on the debate stage, then the press will pick you up and ask you questions, right?
Right.
They'll be like, hey, what does the Libertarian candidate think? Let me ask her that question. What'd she think? And now all of a sudden you've got the press calling you, and now the Libertarian means something. It's something now. They have to ask what Stacey thinks, right? She was the one who almost became the mayor, right? Let's see how she does, right? So imagine if you came in second and beat Curtis Lewa. Imagine that.
That's a possibility. I'm an activist. I mean, he's just trying to grab at different things to win or to make impact. We're really making like the UBI, he wants to do an experimental UBI with 500 people. And I was like, 500 people is not a way to experiment on UBI. If you're going to do it right. You're just doing we have a different plan, and I'm going to release it soon. That's going to help people out of poverty. So, and it's a well thought out plan. So
I remember you were talking about having a way to get people work out of poverty. I remember when you were first talking about this with your team. I was on that call that time when you were talking about the idea of you're going to have a plan that gets people to work off and work into their own life.
Their own life.
Yes.
And there are people that are going to be disabled and they're not going to be able, they're mentally disabled and haven't worked. And those are always going to be in our society, and we have to take care of those people and elderly people and all that. But there are people that really want to get out of poverty and they just can't find the right job that fits their skills, or they don't have the skills they need. We need to solve.
Or they have a system that only says take the money. The second you work, it destroys you. So don't work. Just please keep taking the money.
There has to be in between. There has to be either a supplemental situation or a percentage-wise. It can't be all or nothing. Everything is all or nothing. You get nothing or you get everything. So stay poor, and then you won't cost this. You'll cost the state or city this much money, but there's no. It's sad. You're keeping people poor. Essentially, you're slaves to the system, and it's very easy to become that. Particularly in this atmosphere when there's not a lot of jobs, even though they say there is, the right jobs for the right people.
Yeah.
The right jobs.
No, I
get
where you're going.
Paths. Their jobs and their career paths. Yeah.
So let me, if I can zip back real fast. Let me zip back to the show coming up this Friday.
Sure.
Just 2 days from now. Now you're going to be there. I'm emceeing. Who else is in the show?
We have Vanessa Hollingshead, Kevin Brennan, Andrea Mizvinsky, my friend Evan Weiss as well. And Alex Carbano, the owner, he's very funny. All TV credited comedians, people I've worked with. They're my friends. We might have some special guests if you want to, if any comics are watching that I love, then, let me know if you want to spot. We just wanted, I didn't overbook it because I know I want to invite some of the city council candidates also that are running to come on and maybe speak about their campaigns, because I support them as well, and some of our other candidates. So, yeah. Yes,
people don't realize that there are several Libertarians running for city council this year.
And they're working very hard. And
absolutely.
I think that we need to be a team in a way. Even though we might have different policies, I think we need to sort of join together. And I'm really into that type of thing where we're.
No, I agree. And I know some of the Libertarians from other parts of the country, they get upset when they see that so many Libertarians in New York City tend to be left-leaning Libertarians.
Right.
And they're like, wait a minute, why? But it's New York City. Did you expect right-leaning Libertarians in New York City? You find a lot of Libertarians who actually would link close to the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. You find that often in New York City. We are a super liberal city, so you're going to find a lot of people who lean
I'm left on some things, right? I mean, I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I think I take each issue as they come. I don't know if it's right or left. Some people might consider it very right. Some people might be very left. I'm very open in the way I view policies. I look at the problem. Let's solve the problem. Is it sustainable? Is this, people think I just came out of, telling dick jokes and it's basements. I was an activist for many years as I was doing my comedy and acting. I came from, I used to help with the League of Women Voters and the students in my high school registering them to vote. And I was very excited watching first-time voters vote for the first time, and I was a part of that process. And then I worked later on Headcount as a comedian, helping them in their social media campaign, registering people to vote, bipartisan or no partisan. Sure. And so I'm also an activist in animal rights, mental health. I'm a keynote speaker throughout the country. I spoke over 150, 200 schools, colleges, treatment centers, military academies, and corporations. So people don't know much about my background. They just think I do dirty jokes on the radio and on stage, and I did some acting. But I've been doing politics for many years.
Nice.
On the back, in a different form, writing politics.
So, if anybody wants to come see that cool show with all those great comedians and Stacey and me, I'll be emceeing it.
We're gonna have a great time,
this
Larry.
Friday. Yes, this Friday. It's 7 p.m. right?
It's 7:30. The doors open. 8 o'clock. The show starts.
7:30. Doors open. 8 p.m.
Come on, hang out, have a cocktail or whatever, and say hi to me and Larry and the rest of the comedians, and we could all say hi. And then I left enough time where we don't get shuffled out to talk to people and have some of our other candidates, they want to join us to speak. So I'm really excited about that. So please come. If you can't come, donate some money, donate a ticket. Say I live in California, Georgia, Tennessee, but I would like to donate a ticket. It's $25, and it would really be great. It'd be great.
Here we go. Any tickets that we can pop up will be awesome. So guys, thank you so much. Any support you can do is awesome. I want to grab a couple more if I could.
Sure.
Chance asks, if you could abolish any one law, what would it be? One law that you could abolish. I guess this is what magic powers. That's fine. I like it. It's a theoretical question. So let's go theoretical. You have magic powers.
The easiest law is that bars need to close at 4 o'clock.
Ah, okay. Why that one?
There should be no hours. People should be. I think we need to change. I think businesses should be allowed to run as long as they want to run, an hour, 24 hours if they want. As long as their employees are not being abused, like why not? It gives people more hours to work if they want to work, and I think that's a great thing to have. It also gives more jobs, and people could work different hours. I know a lot of people that work the nighttime shift, and they want to go out afterwards. So yeah.
Absolutely. There we go. Easy day. Thank you for that one, Chance. Appreciate that. Yes. Great. So Abe says, Stacey's the only candidate that can free us from the vax passports. Look at that. So right with that, let me ask, Joe says, what will Mayor Prussman do about COVID? That's a tough question with New York City. We were the epicenter horribly, but now not as bad, New York City. We're not as bad as we were, but there's also a cultural issue here too, isn't there? Like, some people just still want to wear the mask, even though they don't have to. You guys may not know, we had a councilman on TV the other week who literally said we should wear a mask because of solidarity, not because it works or doesn't work, not because it's good or bad, not because it matters, but because of solidarity. So you got a lot on your hands with this one, Stacey.
That is, we had a COVID plan, which we took off the website because we actually took it off the website, which was a grading system. If a business is careful with the high vax system, if they're social distancing, we have a safety COVID plan in place. I will not have vaccine passports. That is,
So you want to have a system that basically that the government just grades every business and says you get an A, you get a B, you get a C, and people can decide if they want to go in or not.
Right. I mean, just be careful. Just have a clean. And, I have to say honestly, it keeps businesses clean. It kept my old gym clean. I don't want to be, I just think, and we're not going to fine anybody, but.
So you don't want to shut them down and you don't want to fine them. You just want to have the government give a grade.
So and the community, right.
And the community decides if they want to go in that business or not.
Right. Too bad they don't have that with dating, because that would make my life easier.
There we go. Yes. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Joe. That's what it is. It's a grading system, and then the communities decide. There we go. So yes. Janice says, I don't know anything about you, but I like everything you're saying. You're winning.
Thank you, Janice.
I like that. You're winning.
I mean, if anyone has I take suggestions. Like COVID this has become cultural and political, and it's not medical anymore. And so now, if people are now principled in whatever side they are. And that to me needs to stop, because it needs to come from science and purely science. Mm-hmm. And talk to your doctors, please. If your doctor says, please get the vaccine, and you have 20 doctors, just, I have a friend, fighting for his life in the hospital right now. I'm just saying, I'm not being, but just make the decision based on medical. If you don't want to get it, if you feel, just, be respectful of the person next to you. That's all.
There we go. Tom says, go Stacey, love from Illinois. There we go.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes. You lost David because of the vegan part. Sorry.
Well,
he's kidding.
Oh, you won't come eating?
He's teasing you. He's like, you lost me in the vegan part. No, that's
it's
it.
Really good food. I'm not kidding. It's like delicious. And you can get it.
There we go.
Vegan cheese sometimes tastes better than regular cheese, but.
Okay, there we go. I like that. Foss Gold says, imagine a mayor who can find humor and answers in a cesspool. Not bad. Not bad.
We're in a
Joe
cesspool.
says, how are you spreading the word for your solutions?
Well, being on Larry Sharpe.
Yes, absolutely.
I've been interviewed. We're spreading the word just like anybody else through social media, through the press. I'm going to do a press junket. Obviously, I've been calling people personally, libertarians throughout the country, telling them about the race. Doing the people like you. I need your help.
There we go. I love
word.
it. Torrance says, I like Stacey Prussman a lot just as a person. I hope New York feels the same about her policies. Oh, there we go. You got a friend. There we go. That's nice. There we go. So, yes. Tom says, no passport. If I was from New York, I'd go out of spite. Well, you can still buy a ticket if you want to, Tom. Out of spite, you can. It's still there if you want to go. There is the link. Jericho says, I totally agree with you, Stacey. Had people been able to talk to their doctor and get the vaccine, more people would get it. Many people trust healthcare providers. They don't just trust government. They don't trust government involvement in public health for good reason.
I told that's my thing. I think that they would have made it where you're in a private room with your doctor, and the doctor says, look, you're 85 years old. You have a heart condition. It's safe. My mother just got her vaccine, the first one. She had nothing. She was like, literally, she didn't have a Band-Aid. I mean, that's my mother. And she had a heart attack last month. So wow. I'm just saying, the older people are doing better with the vaccine. It's whatever. It's what you want to do. But it's like, if it does help you from, I don't want people in my city to be sick. So I want you to eat better, exercise, take your vitamins, sleep well. Like, I want to have yoga at the Gracie Mansion every week. I want to have parties for the city. I want dancing on the boardwalk of Coney Island, which is my favorite thing to do. So if you want to join me every Saturday, I dance on the boardwalk with DJs, doing old school. Like, I want dancing and fun and people being healthy. Like, the self-care is really important. Like, there's nothing the government could do to help you with that.
That's
except
true.
to allow you to have dancing on the boardwalk without restrictions. To
let you go out and dance if you want to dance. Yes, if you want to go dance, you should dance. I completely agree. You should be dancing if you want to dance, 100%. Sam asked an interesting question. Sam says, Jack, I hope I say it right. Posobiec, I hope I say that right, made a good point. Cuomo was the biggest challenger to Kamala in 2024, and now he's off the table. Your thoughts? I'm not sure that was actually true. I think the Democrats, my view is, this is my opinion, and Stacey, you may change. My view is Kamala's actually not going to run in 2024. I think the Democrats are going to find another person because Kamala is just seriously unlikable. Democrats don't like her. Republicans don't like her. Nobody likes her. She's a bad person. She's unlikable. They're going to find somebody else. That's my gut.
What do you think, Stacey? Biden's going to try again. You don't think people are saying he's not able to do it again?
I don't think Biden runs again. Biden had one job: get rid of Trump. That's all the Democrats wanted from him. They're like, can you just get rid of Trump for us? We hate Trump. We just want to get rid of him. Can you please be the guy that we prop up so that people can just look at you and pretend like you're doing something?
Right.
And can you just get rid of Trump for us? And he was
just
like,
be polite.
Okay.
Don't be rude. Yes. Don't say anything crazy. Yeah.
Don't hit anybody. And can we use you for that? And he was like, okay. So they made him president. Okay. He did his job. They don't care about Biden anymore.
Right.
They're like, whatever. We'll go, whatever. Biden did his job. They're done.
Well, that's my view. To run. Maybe it's your chance to run for president.
To be the Democratic nominee? I don't think so.
No, I mean, to be the Libertarian nominee.
It could happen, but that's 2024. Let's worry about you today. I like worrying about you right now.
All right. I know I have an election in like 2 months, 3 months. Yeah, I better get.
Yes, let's worry about that. Yes, 100%. Matthew says, shout out to Stacey, telling all my friends in New York City about her and the
Thank
comedy
you.
show.
Please
Thank you, Matt.
do.
I appreciate that. Yes.
It's this Friday the 13th, so don't, hurry up and tell everybody. And if you can't come, buy a ticket.
There we go. You can see the link that is right there in the description. So yeah, he says enough of the Republicrats. Let's make real change in New York. I love that. Absolutely. Joe asks, how do you feel about tiny homes
Love them. I wish I could have one. I wish we have areas. I'm sure it's Staten Island, and we have areas in the Bronx where we could build these beautiful, and with shipping containers, which is very inexpensive. They make beautiful.
Yes.
And they're, we were thinking of 3D homes, and then actually Paul and I, my campaign manager, bumped into this company taking pictures. They just got in the stock market. What is it? They just got when you get on the stock market floor, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You ring the bell.
So we bumped into them, like, we make tiny homes, 3D homes. I'm like, oh, we were thinking about they're very expensive. We had been under the impression they were inexpensive. So that's not the way to go. So I'm changing it. I have a different way to do it. So I think shipping containers, which are adorable, and they are durable. They don't they're weather resistant, and they're sustainable, and they're great for the environment. So it's something that I'm thinking of. Tiny homes are great. I wish we could do more of them.
There we go. I love that. Daniels says, not being devil's advocate, but isn't affordable homes similar to Section 8 housing? My opinion, but what about creating more opportunities for them to want to get jobs? Well, that was part of her plan, but go ahead, Stacey.
Well, Section 8 is very different. You get a voucher. Affordable homes, they have where it's based on your income, so you pay the amount of rent. Like Manhattan Plaza, for instance, is an artist home. There's other homes like that. So they base your rent on your income.
Yes.
So if you have a good year, you pay a certain amount. If you have a bad year, you pay a certain amount. So there are people paying a lot of money in Manhattan Plaza, and there are people paying very little. So it balances out depending on how successful you are during the year.
That motto has been working relatively well. They do it in veterans' homes in the Bronx also. And in their case, you pay 1/3 of your income, whatever your income is.
Right.
If your income is high, you pay a lot more. And some vets actually stay with higher because they want to be around other vets and they want to help them out. They become mentors.
Right.
So they're actually paying a little extra.
And those buildings are beautifully kept, and they're diverse naturally at all different races and cultures and ages. So things happen naturally, integration of different cultures happen naturally if you do it right.
Absolutely. Missy says, help support the Sharpe way for free. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. She's being good. I've been talking all about you. Please, you're important. And please also like, comment, share, everybody. Let people know. That's how we get out of this. That's how we get out of our shadow banning. Like and comment and share and let people know this is going on. Please do that. And of course, if you want to help me out, go take the world's smallest political quiz. Now, here's the good part. If you live in New York City or someone knows from New York City, send this quiz to them. If they take it and they realize they're more libertarian than they might think, then guess what? Have them go and see PrussmanForMayor.com. Say that's it. That's the issue, right? So send them the first piece, which is the test, to see if they're actually more libertarian than they think. And if you've taken it already, then share it, please. It does matter. They're my sponsors. They help this show go. So if you want to keep my sponsors happy, please take the world's smallest political quiz. The link is there. And if your friends like it and they go, wait a minute, maybe I'm more libertarian than I thought. Prussman for Mayor. They can see what she's doing. All good. And always like, comment, and share. And if you want to help out for the show this Friday, you can click right there. $25 for a ticket. Come see me. I'll be there. Come see Stacey. So we're great comedians. We'll all be there. It's not a vax passport place. Just come on in.
Come enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Just come and have a good time. And you can do that if you'd like to. So thank you. Yes. Andrew asked a crazy question. Andrew says, if Stacey gets elected, can she work with Governor Hochul?
Why not? Work with anybody.
Well, she is linked to Cuomo. I mean, it's a valid point, right?
I have to meet the woman. I don't know.
I like that. Okay. There we go.
I'm going to have to, I have to work alongside people of all parties and different beliefs. And just like the Libertarian Party, you have to find common ground. And I'm going to stick up for my city, though. No one's going to bully my city around. So
there we go. I like that. Lepke's on your side. He says New York had an amazing music scene back before struggling artists got priced out. This is your point.
Exactly
you
what
want
happened.
Artists to come back.
They all went to Austin and Florida, and some went to LA because they could that was even more affordable. So a lot of people just left New York. They went to the southern states. They went to Asheville.
Yes, I know Asheville. You're right. A lot went to Asheville. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people
they should have been here.
Yeah, and we were the hub of culture, and this is before the pandemic. I want to say this has been going on before the pandemic. Like
right.
It was going on through the 90s. People really couldn't afford. It was hard to kind of afford, and then 9/11. It was still, even after that, it was hard to afford, and we lost some people. Both through 9/11 and through they just left. They didn't want to live here.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
So we have a lot of work to do. We can't be in denial. We have a lot of work to do to get people.
No, but you're the only candidate who speaks about something like that. That is an underlying piece to New York City that most people don't get. Even if banking leaves one day, even if business leaves one day, art can't leave New York City.
Cannot leave.
The culture, it's drilled into what we are, from the Cotton Club of Harlem to walking tours in Wall Street,
right,
to Broadway, to comedy clubs in Alphabet City. It doesn't matter. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And that's something we can never. People. A lot of these other candidates are very fear-based. Like,
yes,
you're gonna get hurt. There are criminals. We can't live like that. We need to live in peace. To feel safe inside. Safety doesn't always just come from the police are. Safety comes from, it's a feeling, a feeling of being. Because anything you can get hit by a car, so you need to live in, you can't lead with fear, telling people, well, if you don't vote for me, it's going to be dangerous. That's not, and that's not even true, because they have no control really.
Right.
Random acts of violence are random acts of violence. And that's why they're called random acts of violence, because they're random. Joe
says, quotes you, nothing more libertarian than being a comedian. I love it. He likes it. So you're winning with Joe. You're winning with Joe for sure. Yes.
Thank you, Joe.
Absolutely.
Come to our show.
Yes. Justin says, know who commits crimes? People who have abruptly had their livelihood upended by government mandates, closures, and onerous regulatory burden. Without removing these, I've got no idea who in their right mind would move to New York City to start a business or new job. It's a valid point.
A very valid point. It's, desperate people with nothing. I lost my career for a while. I couldn't tour. I love touring. It's one of my favorite things to do. As a speaker, as a comedian, every year I would do a show down in Florida as an actor. They shut down production for film.
Yes.
I lost my entire career. It was very scary. And my day, any kind of day jobs, restaurants. I wasn't really necessarily a restaurant worker, but I always worked in gyms doing personal training. Couldn't do that. Anything I could possibly make money doing was gone for a few months. So absolutely. It was very scary for a while. And they had a lot of trouble. Our city couldn't get the unemployment out to people. That was a big problem. It was a bureaucratic disaster.
Yep.
They should be ashamed of themselves. So
yes, and yes, totally true. You're 100% right. And what used to be powerful about New York was, it was a mecca for talent, right?
Yeah.
So if you wanted talent, you came to New York, and there was so much talent here. But now people found out you don't have to live in New York to have that talent. You can live someplace else and just do it virtually.
We're now in a virtual world. Yeah.
It's going to change a lot. But you can't beat
the experience. You can't beat the experience of coming out of a train.
That's the culture piece you said. You're right. You can't beat the culture. You can't phone that in.
And hailing a cab and going to a Broadway show and then going to Joe Allen's afterwards for a snack and having drinks with your friends, and you can't.
I'm going to give this. This, Stacey, because actors. People always ask actors, why? You're a big actor. Why would you go to Broadway? Right? You make so much more when you do a movie, and you work so much less when you do a movie. Why are you going to Broadway? And the actors always say the same thing.
The live experience.
It's a live experience. Yes, that they're fine. As long as they make their millions in the movie, they'll come and do a Broadway show, which they'll get paid less and they'll work harder. But they do it because you hear them all the time. Well, when I'm on the set for the movie, there's no clapping. Director's just like, cut, good, next.
It's
right?
very dead energy in a movie. You're there for 15 hours a day. Literally, I've done a lot of films in my time. You're there for hours a day. You don't get the claps. You do one line. You go back and forth. We do it again 87,000 times. Then the director, they do different angles, and then, but Broadway, first of all, it's a better job, because I was in theater. I had a job as an actor for 5 years doing off Broadway It was my day, my whole job. You go in at a certain time, you know, the show ends at a certain time, and you go home at a certain time. And you can go out. You can't make plans when you're on a movie set.
Okay. There we
By
go.
the way, FYI.
There we go.
It goes long, even if you're a celebrity. I mean, you could even you're the biggest star in the world, you can go to 3 a.m. Your life is taken up by that film. So
well, there we go. So Abe says he's going to be there. Awesome. So
Thank
he's
you,
showing
Abe.
up.
Awesome.
Thank you, Abe. I appreciate that. Torrance asked a question. Is there any way to watch the show virtually?
I have to ask the comedians if we could film it, because a lot of comedians don't like to be filmed, so we'd have to sign a waiver. So I'll ask if they want to. We could maybe film it. Remind me to call my videographer. So
there we go. So maybe. Thank you, Torrance.
And then we could sell it, you know, as a campaign thing. So yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Abe says if Stacey gets in the debate stage, she'll skyrocket. Look at that. I love that.
Thank you, Abe.
Yes.
I really want to debate. I've debated Eric, and I think it would be a good debate. I mean, you know, I think it would be exciting to debate him again in public in a big forum, and I think it's fair. I think it's only fair to allow us to debate. We are the 3rd largest party in the country, and we need to be on that stage.
I agree. Shelley says, to me, the draw of New York City has always been the mixing of many cultures.
Yes.
Also true, yeah. In many areas, you can learn about many cultures and taste various foods from around the world in a few square blocks.
That's a very good point, because you can't buy that. You can't buy having, you know, Korean food on one block and then going around the corner having Italian and then Jamaican food. And in my neighborhood, we have, you know, every type of food. So Russian food, and it's amazing. I've eaten every kind of food imaginable. So
absolutely.
Except my own
absolutely.
Cooking, so.
I love that idea. And I think the idea of a comedy show to kind of re-kick the kind of opening of New York City to get your campaign back in the open mode, right? To prep us for the upcoming the debates are actually in October, is that right?
Right. Yeah, like 2 months from now. You know, look,
debates in 2 months.
We've been campaigning in half of a lockdown. It's, you know, and it's not the easiest time to campaign.
Absolutely.
You know, usually a lot of, especially in the beginning when people were going, you know, having get-togethers, things just really started. People just, you know, started just socializing in the last couple of months. So it's been, you know, a challenge, really. Everything's virtual for us. So this
that's the issue, right?
Yeah.
Matthew says libertarians on debate stages open up doors all over. I think he's right.
Yeah.
We need libertarians making moves like this. It's like pebbles turning into boulders, turning into an avalanche of change.
Woo! I like that.
Look at that, Matthew. Very nice. I love that.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn into an avalanche, Stacey. That's what we're doing.
We are. We have to. I mean, you know, we start small. I know we have some elected officials. We had someone on my team. Sasha Cohen had to leave because he got town clerk in his town. He was on my team for a while, but he got elected, which is great. So we need, you know, a lot of people getting elected. We have great city council candidates that I really love, and they're working hard for you. So, you know, check them out.
Okay.
So, yeah, we need to
David says we need a good showing debate stage to get the duopoly to run for their money. That's true, right? That's when they'll actually do something, right? Absolutely. I agree.
Right. I need to get on that debate stage, guys.
Perina doesn't like it. She's upset. She says she is going to spoil it for the Republican candidate Curtis to win. I think he deserves it. As for Stacey, I never heard of her. Well, let me touch that piece for a second. Curtis Sliwa, to be forward with you, I have nothing against Curtis Sliwa, but he's not going to win. It's 6-1 Democrat to Republican in New York City. 6-1. Those Democrats are not going to vote for a Republican. Not Curtis Sliwa for sure. They're not going to vote for him. They're not going to vote for a Republican. They're going to vote either for a Democrat or an outsider. So that means Democrat, Libertarian, Green. They'll vote Independent.
There's no green line. There's no green line this year.
Well, I'm saying, but that's what New York City people will vote, right? Green doesn't have a party candidate, but they'll vote. They'll vote other Independent, something different, or they'll vote Democrat. They're not going to vote Republican. It's not what they do. They just don't do it. So I don't think he's going to win. The reality of it is, Curtis had an opportunity, by the way, and this is what many of you don't know. Curtis and I sat down and talked when I ran for governor.
Okay.
And I said, well, how about give me the Reform Party line? And I'll run as a Libertarian reformer, and I'll run on 2 lines. What do you think about that idea? We had a discussion about it, whether we should or shouldn't do it. And he was like, nope, I'm going Republican. He's going to get me all the votes. You won't. Nope. He gave the line to Mark Molinaro, who did absolutely nothing for the Reform
Wow.
line whatsoever, and the Reform Party went away. He literally killed the Reform Party. That's a true story.
He doesn't have a great reputation. If you around during the 80s, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, a lot of my Italian friends don't like him.
All I'm saying, Prina, is he's nothing against him, but he was not a savvy politician. That he was not a savvy politician, and he's going to win anyway. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. There's a better chance of Stacey winning than it is him. I'm not even exaggerating with that, because the Democrats are not going to vote for him. They might vote for Stacey, but they're not going to vote for him. So I know that may sound crazy, but in this case, she has a better chance of winning than he does.
And my animal rights, I've been doing this, I'm not just about no-kill shelters. I want animal rights all around. And I've been doing, I already have a plan, not just saying no kill. I know who I'm going to bring in, a gentleman named Nathan Winograd, to help us make no kill. He has a proven record. I've been talking to him for 20 years, literally, since I did my TV show about saving animals. So yeah, you may not hear me. It doesn't mean I'm better or worse. People think you have to.
That's true also.
Right.
Yeah.
McDonald's sucks. I've heard of McDonald's, but sorry.
David says libertarians will get nothing done. Well, here's what I would ask you, David. It's a serious question here. And I'll give you an example of when I think libertarians have actually made some actual impact in a very special way. Last year, death of George Floyd. When George Floyd dies, Republicans yell back the blue, Democrats yell defund the police, and no one does anything. But one person did something, got everything started. And that was our one libertarian congressman. And his name at that time was Justin Amash. Yes. He's left the Congress since then. But then he was the only libertarian congressman. He actually went and made a decision. He said, why don't we start to fix something? How about reform? We'll start with ending qualified immunity. And he created the first tripartisan bill ever. Because he was the only libertarian, he had to cross the aisle on both sides and get both sides to agree. He had to make a bill that both sides would agree with. And he did. But then the Democrat, Nancy Pelosi, and the Republican at that point was Mitch McConnell, none of them would have the bill voted on, because we can't have that. So in reality, the duopoly fights and gets nothing done. The libertarian can actually cross both sides and talk to each side and actually get something done. I would say it's the opposite, David.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So just my 2 cents. Let's see here. If I can keep going down here. Alexander says, let's talk policy, Stacey. Sure. De Blasio was a terrible mayor for sure. But the one thing that I like was declaring a moratorium on any new fossil fuel infrastructure. Would you continue this?
I think it's why should we build, if we can build non-fossil fuel infrastructure, why would we, go backwards if we don't have to, right? I mean.
Well, there we go. Okay.
I think, if things are doable and it's sustainable, why not continue on positive? De Blasio didn't do everything wrong, right? But there are certain things that we can continue working. Things there, we need to make our city cleaner environmentally. Mm-hmm. Sure. And if things work and it's affordable to do so and sustainable, why the hell not? Okay. Thank you for that question. Great question.
Matthew agrees with you. He says people need hands up and not continue to get handouts. Yes, agreed. So another, this one is more about cash when it comes to the police force. Daniel says, Stacey, would you want to put more money into the police force for more training? May we encourage small communities to police their own? Do you have a plan to crack down on crime?
Well, that's a great question. Well, first of all, everyone's like, fun. It depends. It doesn't matter. Like, you can give the police force money to retrain, to reform. You're not just sticking them in salary. So it depends how you fund the police, or you could take money here and put it into training, adding psychiatrists and psychologists to the police force for people with mental health issues. The police shouldn't be doing everything. We need to bring it down to the communities where there's a connection. We need to build bridges with the police. So there's a place for them. They need to stop going after small petty crimes like Lucy's and not nonsense like that, and really go after like the violent crimes and get the gangs kind of out of New York. So there's a lot of ways to go about it. It's not, we use these taglines, defund, fund, refund, whatever you want to, there's all these snap, like hashtags. We got to just look at the problem and solve the problem. How much money do we want to put in our police force? What's going to be the most effective way to use our police? How do we stop crime? Is it detective work? Is it having plainclothes cops? Is it just having less laws? There's a lot of things to really look at. It's not just one. There's like a lot of little pieces, moving parts. So
sure.
Yeah, I have a lot of plans, and they're all looking at each moving part and seeing what works, helping people feel safer from the police that are afraid of the police, as well as finding a way the police can work without being, escalating crime or escalating the situation. We need to de-escalate situations. So there's a lot of moving parts going on, and I have a lot of plans on how to do that. I've talked to a lot of police officers because they have their job too. I mean, there's jobs for everybody.
Absolutely. Alexander says, I enjoyed working the graveyard shift. See, so you're right. Some people like working the late stuff.
I like the nighttime too, obviously.
There we go. I like that. So Matthew actually teases, he says, I like my mask because I can make faces at people and they don't know it. That is an advantage. That's true. It does like that. Yes. Paula says, grading system is a good idea. Let the markets decide. She likes that. There we go.
Some people don't like it. They don't like. I don't know. It's an idea. It's an idea. It's a solution to a problem. It may not be the perfect solution, but it's a solution to a problem.
Peter says, Stacey, you have my vote.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Tell your friends.
There we go. That's one right there. I love it. Absolutely. Matthew says, Larry, what's Stacey's stance on vaping and the New York City flavor ban? Do you have
I was the vaping candidate, according to now. I think that, as long as vaping is, I don't know why they banned it. I think because a few bad actors sold bad vapes, and then they banned the whole thing. But they were THC vapes, by the way, from vitamin E. It's your choice if you're going to vape. People are going out of state to get the vapes anyway.
Yep.
I don't think, I'm not encouraging children to vape or anything like that. So don't get, a lot of people with parents with children are like, you want my kids to vape. I'm like, no, I don't want your kids to vape. But I want people that are adults to make the choice if they want to vape, that they can get it in the city. They don't have to buy it in Florida and bring it up here like somebody on my team does. Yeah.
There we go. Janice asks, what time do you dance on the boardwalk? I'll be there.
Oh, I go when the DJ starts, around 5 or 6 on Saturdays.
There we go. 5 or 6 on Saturdays. That's where she will be. I love that. Oh, good. I love that. So let me see if I can do this one here. Alexander thinks Biden will run again. Okay. Maybe. He thinks he will. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think no, but you might be right. Joel says Kamala is unlikable, but the Dems did not realize Hillary was very unlikable and lost running her. Joe, I think they learned that lesson. I do. I think the Democrats learned that lesson. I think they do it again because you're right. Hillary was also very unlikable, right? And I think Kamala is also unlikable. Yeah, I don't know. You have a view on that?
I don't know. I mean, does unlikability make you lose? I mean, it's just Biden part 2. So if you want Biden part 2,
is that works?
Yeah,
I like that.
In different steps. So it's like it's going to be just a continuation of that administration if she does run, unless someone new shakes up the party somehow.
There we go. Janice says, if I buy a ticket for the show to donate to you, do you give it to someone or do you double sell it? Just checking. We'd love to donate and have someone walking by be given my ticket.
I would love to do that. Sure.
There we go. You have your answer, Janice. There we go. Absolutely. Shelly says, Asheville's very artsy. It is. There's an interesting stat I remember from a couple years back. I don't know if it's still the same stat, but Asheville by percentage had the second highest gay population of any city in America except for San Francisco.
Really?
It's got the highest by percentage.
And
I think Asheville the number 2. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's still true, but that was probably about 15 years ago.
Well, New York was a place that people would come to if they were gay or trans. They would feel safe here. And so that was a place where they would come out. I remember the 80s and 90s with Keith Haring and the dance clubs. And I was a little young back then, but I remember the 80s when we had people were coming out and the age of AIDS. I grew up through that. And we survived it. So I think we can survive COVID.
I think it's survivable. Absolutely. 100%. So Lepke says one of the best things about New York is the ethnic diversity. That's true. And I live in Queens, by the way, and Queens is the most diverse county in the country.
Unbelievably diverse. It's amazing.
Yes. most in the entire country. So
and everyone gets along.
Absolutely. So I guess the thing I wanna pick up here, if I could, I want to go back to what I think is one of the most important things that we've been talking about here, which is this Friday. It is a fundraiser and a get together and a kind of reopening thing. Guys, if you can make it, I'm emceeing. Stacey will be there along with a list of great comedians. If you can come, please come. And it's very simple. Click the link that's in the description or right here. You see it, what it says here. You can click here, buy a ticket. If you can show up, show up. If you want to just help out Stacey, you can still just buy a ticket and not come if you want to. Or check out PrussmanForMayor.com. Click donate button.
It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like you could give more.
Absolutely.
And if you want to give more per ticket, you want to come and you want to spend $50 a ticket because you want to give more
Yes.
and be generous and you have the money, you could do that as well. You can buy a donate a ticket. Whoever that young lady, Janice, if she wants, I can have it in honor of Janice that you bought. So for someone who can afford a ticket, because I have friends that if you want to come, you can't afford it. There's a ticket waiting for you.
Absolutely. So any of those are options for you. Anything I should say or we should talk about before we wrap this up, Stacey?
I really love New York, and to be mayor of New York would be an honor, and the love I want to share with the rest of New York and to watch people happy here I would be honored to lead a city and have a free city where people could live and be who they want. And that's why I want to be mayor of New York. And that was something I wanted to do 5-10 years ago, actually, before we even talked. And I believe we are not over here, and we have so many beautiful places to go. And I think we just had a pause button for a second, but we're gonna fly, and I'm really excited about what comes next.
I love that. That's amazing. There we go.
I
love it. We should definitely do that. I'm 100% on board with that. It's great. For those of you who have other questions, I couldn't get all the questions. I had so many things pop in the chat. You can always reach out to Stacey's team directly from either her Facebook page, which the link is there, or through Twitter. The link is there too, or through her website. If you have questions or comments, please ask her there. I'm sure her team will get it and then get the answer back to you. I appreciate it. Everyone, thank you so much for today. Stacey, thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you so much, guys. Be safe. Be well. Yes, and I can't wait till Friday.
There we go. I will see you all, I hope, Friday, 7:30 in New York City. Guys, have a great night.
Bye-bye.